Welcome to Women's Wellness Wednesday with your host, Reek and Teresa.
Hey,
How's
Reek.
everybody? How are you, T?
Good. How are you, Reek?
I feel great. The start of my week was a mit, and I think I want to choose a different word. I don't want to choose rocky. I want to choose overwhelmed,
Okay.
because when you're overwhelmed, those are just moments, and moments pass. And I preach and teach about moments and feeling the feels. So I definitely had a few moments, um, but I feel great this evening. I'm so ready to have this conversation with you, several conversations of hot topics. And so, yeah, I feel really good. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I had a challenging week as well.
Okay.
Spent a couple days in bed, kind of just feeling not myself. So I took the beginning of this week to have important conversations with meaningful people, just to kind of allow someone to finally pour into me. So that was good.
Yes.
And today I woke up refreshed and blessed, girl.
Okay. Yeah, because I received a message, audio form,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very positive, and it resonated with me as well. So I started out waking up. God be the glory. Had some personal time. Received a video or audio from you, and it really set the bar. So thank you for that. I received two additional phone calls that allowed also some pouring in to me. So shout out to the people who know when you're not yourself. Shout out to the people who are aware of the importance of, you know, kind of checking in. And, you know, you or I aren't ones to check in and say, hey, red flag, or tip off the cap in SOS. So it takes a special group of people. It takes a special person to identify when someone may need a check in.
Amen.
So shout out to the village, on your side as well as mine.
Yes, ma'am.
So, T, we don't have a special guest tonight. And I think that gives us an element to give our viewers a better understanding of who we are, what we believe in, and what we have to offer.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun to have a special guest because they come with so much enhancement. They come with information, they come with motivation and inspiration. But tonight, we're going to slow it down, turn it up a notch, if you will,
Right.
as slow as it can be, and touch on some topics that are pretty controversial.
Sure.
So for me, the first topic I'd like to touch on is how social media depicts women.
Okay.
And what that tends to look like. So, you know, with that being said, I want to give a disclaimer that we intend to be extremely respectful. These are opinions with respect attached to them. Sometimes people give their opinion and don't care what the narrative is after. And that's not what we're doing. We're having a candid conversations, hard conversations that will invoke thought,
Sure.
and also give you a chance to change the perspective. So, what I want to start with is how we are depicted, or what we idolize, or what we, I guess, sometimes set role models for. You know, Cardi B, I love her. Megan Thee Stallion, love her. Sukihana, I love that she walks in her truth.
Amen. She's genuine. She's real. She's raw, but she's real.
I'm gonna need you for this one, T.
Got you.
Because what she promotes, sex sells. We know that. We're not reinventing the wheel. That's been around for a long time. But does it have to be so in your face and so raunchy, if you will? This shirt that I'm wearing, off the sleeve, cut off, it's giving sexy.
Right.
It's not giving a lot, but it's definitely giving, it's a shoulder piece.
Right.
It's a cut up t-shirt.
So I think it honestly depends on the person, Reek, because your comfort level might not be Sukihana's. Sukihana might just be comfortable showing it all. It was what she was born with. She's proud of it, and she's showing it off. It's not something I agree with. I personally wouldn't do it. But I respect the woman that just kind of stands in who she is and her truth. I mean, she's very raw and upfront about how she is in the bedroom and just who she is sexually. And unfortunately, some people will disagree, but I commend her on it. I don't think celebrities are supposed to be looked upon as role models. That's just my personal opinion.
So you have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, if she started to idolize that type of behavior, that type of individual, how would you feel about that?
Well, Maya and I have had those challenging conversations because the reality is that young girls are extremely impressionable.
Right.
And most little girls, for one reason or another, need validation. And so, I would tell Maya, like, this is not who she is every day. She's putting on a show. She's an entertainer.
I like that.
Just because she's doing this for TV doesn't mean she lives her Monday through Sunday life that way.
Or does she?
Or she could. But I mean, it's my job as a parent, I feel,
yes,
to instill morals and values in both of my children and just let them know, like, what you see on TV is literally like acts. Social media also, people frauding and flaunting for clout and everything else.
So T, can I pick your brain in reference to this?
Yeah.
What about Jocelyn Hernandez? I believe she has a show. I don't want to misspeak. It's a cabaret of some sort. I believe the young ladies are trying out to be exotic dancers of some sort. Again, I don't want to misspeak. And if any young lady in the audience wants to correct me, give me the deets on her show, please do so. I'm not subscribed, but I do see it on my timeline on Instagram. And so for me, when I see the snippets that I see a woman who is capitalizing on fighting and degrading other women.
Yeah.
She praises, if you will, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the comments, of slapping a bitch, or I didn't like the way she looked at me. And T, what you said is that this is entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we subscribe to this type of entertainment? Are we subscribing to a bigger scale and saying that what Jocelyn Hernandez is doing is okay to degrade women for the bag?
Right.
When we subscribe? Or is it when we subscribe, we're tapping away from the everyday 9 to 5, from corporate America, and we want to see ratchet TV?
I mean, full transparency, it's my guilty pleasure. I don't condone or promote what Jocelyn does. And it's unfortunate because I'm a very proud Puerto Rican and I don't stand for how she mistreats women. But at the same time, these women willingly go on the show. This is, I think, the 4th season or the 3rd season where they were able to watch previous seasons and see how she mistreated, disrespected, degraded these women. Because in her mind, she tells them, I'm your pimp and you're my tricks.
Right.
So she's not looking at them as a business partner or an opportunity to give them a platform to expand.
Right.
She's looking at it like, you guys are going to get clout off of being my puppets that I disrespect and degrade every single week.
Which is a lie. Because as I sign up or as I go audition, mentally, what is that doing to me?
Right.
It's both. Elaborate on that, if you will.
So I think
these women choose to be disrespected.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also feel as though it could be like, some form of mental health. A lot of those women go on and they have stories that they're homeless, or they just had an abortion, or they came out of an abusive relationship and they're thinking this is their escape. They're going to a house full of women where it can be, safe. No, ladies, this is not what this show is for.
Or survival of the fittest. Because if you're living out on the streets, or if you're dealing with homelessness, or if you're dealing with an abusive relationship and the audition is in your city and you're cute and you have the body and you believe that you're a bad bitch, why not audition?
Right. But it's also mental health, because a lot of these girls, and I'm sure we're going to touch on this topic as well, are going out and getting their bodies done for this attention to go on a show like Jocelyn's Cabaret or The Baddies or whatever the case may be. And I'm not here to judge anybody, but I do feel as though these women really need to tap into themselves to realize, like, what am I actually doing on this show for everyone to see that this, because she is a random person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's just a random person to disrespect me nationally all over TV.
And so that's what I'm struggling with, because again, Dom is saying that, these women are willing participants. So if I'm willing to do that, what is it in me that's saying that this is okay? And then we have Big E saying that there's a mental health component. Absolutely.
1,000,000,000%.
Because I'm not like, a bad bitch doesn't equate being disrespected by the next
female,
by the next one.
Right. I think they literally do it for a social media presence. They will allow someone to disrespect them in hopes that at the end of this show, they've gained X amount of thousands of followers. Never mind
the bag, right?
Yeah. And I don't think that, honestly, Reed, to my understanding, they don't even make that much money.
Okay.
So they're literally just doing it for the clout of it all.
Yeah, it's troubling. For me, here on Women's Wellness, we promote positivity. We're not going to say we always make the best decisions,
right.
but I will stand on that we're pretty sturdy with positivity and how that looks and what that looks like. And just because your opinion isn't of mine, that doesn't mean that I'm going to degrade your opinion or, disrespect anything you have to say. But what we will stand on, along with what I just mentioned, is the fact that you don't have to be disrespectful to gain clout. If anything, on Women's Wellness Wednesday, I want to make it cool. I want to make it popular to be respectful to the next woman.
Amen.
I want to make it okay to salute the next woman without any harsh content, attached to it.
Right. And for me as a woman, I value and appreciate a compliment coming from another woman before I do a man respectfully.
Right.
I think that growing up, or how women are perceived, is that we're always catty and we're always in competition and we're petty and we want to just kind of constantly be in a disarray with one another. Yeah. And I've always been the type of female that'll always compliment or praise another woman, because we go through a lot on a daily basis and we should be able to uplift and praise one another, especially when, like, we don't know how somebody else's day is going. So just a compliment goes a long way.
Huge. There was a time where, one would say, oh, Rick, you just being Joe. Well, why? Because I spoke to everybody in the bar.
Girl, I get it all the time.
Like, why? And it'll come from a male or a female, but just the notion that me speaking is being Joe. And for those who don't know what Joe is being extra, being the most. Well, why not speak to everybody in the bar?
Right.
If you want to change the narrative and you want to salute the next woman, it's going to have to take you to go up to her and say, hello.
Right.
How you doing? Is someone sitting here?
Right.
It doesn't.
All the time, T, you do too much. Every time we go out, you got to talk to somebody. You got to help somebody. You got to do this. You got to do that. Listen, that's just who I am by nature. I'm friendly. I'm loving. And I mean, there's enough of me to go around.
Right. Real women help each other. Other women to be great. I agree, yes, Miss Carol. I've said it before. Kindness can be contagious, infectious. You figure, if you're able to crack down the hardest face in the room, then you did something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go sit next to the person who's all stern.
Yeah, that got the resting bitch face. Sweetie, what's wrong?
Right. Open up.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it is because of what she's been through that the resting bitch face is on.
Right.
But she did show up to the function. She did the best she could. So maybe she does need somebody to sit down and be like, are you sitting here?
Right.
Can I sit next to you? With my goofy, jovial manner. Hey, cuz, So, I want to touch back on the BBLs and things of that nature, because the maintenance T with that, I don't know much about it and I don't want to misspeak, but I will say that I know there's maintenance that goes with it.
Right.
And what I've been told is that every 7 to 10 years, there's a maintenance piece for the silicone. There's a maintenance piece for, whatever you got enhanced in your breast, whether it's silicone and all the other things that they use that I don't know, so I won't say, but right. I do know there's a maintenance piece to that. With the BBLs, fatality is a thing after.
Yeah.
So when they say that, I did this for me, and I'm playing devil's advocate, ladies, I did this for me. I didn't do this for a man. I didn't do this for my partner. I didn't do this for my fiance, my woman. I did this for me. Cool. So you signed up to spend X amount of dollars on a cosmetic surgery that has nothing to do with medical. There's no medical component to it.
Right.
It's all cosmetic. So you did this to look at yourself daily and say, God damn it, I look good every day. I didn't spend between 7 to 10 grand on this body that I'm going to look at every day and say, I'm happy now that I did this.
Right. And $7,000 to $10,000 is if you're going to like a legit place, because right. Unfortunately, these women are going to other countries on a damn Groupon voucher. Okay. Getting infections and all other kind of stuff, Right. And listen, to me, I am not going to yuck somebody's yum. So if you need to feel like this is something you need to do, I just really would like these women to really look at like what the procedure is. Because 2 years ago, I was flying back from Miami and there was a girl and her sister who had recently got a BBL. And the amount of pain this woman was in walking through the airport with a urine bag full of blood, like crying and aching. And I'm thinking, you paid to get this done, and it takes 6 weeks of recovery, not only physical, but mental recovery, because I'm sure during that 6 weeks, you're thinking you might be regretting it because you're in so much pain.
So T, there's a drainage component. And I know that, there's been stories that have been told to me that, there's triumph after that. People have gotten the surgery cosmetically, not as a symbolism, but something occurred, and now things are different. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Sure. And those situations, I don't think we can compare to the cosmetic piece completely, because there was a medical component to that. They say that BBL is the most risky surgery for surgeons to perform and the most dangerous. Tiff, like, that's wild.
Well,
most risky.
Jackie O, may she rest in peace. She passed away a few months ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, going to get yet another like mommy makeover.
I think it was like the third one.
And again, listen, women's bodies after we have children and things like that, after we go through a dramatic weight loss, things need to be trimmed and tucked, and I get all of that. I really do. But some of these women are walking around looking like a wisdom tooth. Like the ass don't match the thighs.
A wisdom tooth.
Okay, the ass don't match the thighs. Okay. They got the wing over here flapping in the arm. Right. Like, if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it so at least it looks somewhat realistic, because a lot of these jobs I've been seeing are real botched.
So my girlfriend just said that I have permission to share her story, and I don't want to misquote her either. And thank you so much for letting me do that, girlfriend. So, and I touched on it a little bit, but my girlfriend's situation, did have a medical component to it. Okay. Due to, Keisha, are you available? Because I don't want to misspeak. There was a myectomy that was in place, and there was a few different things that was going on with this particular individual. And, after it was all said and done, who needed to walk around with that type of weight, with that type of reminder And there was nothing she could do about it. And so with that being said, it made sense to say, hey, let me remove this.
Right.
Because it doesn't serve me.
Right.
You can, yeah. And so that to me was a story more of a triumph. Okay. Because when it was all said and done, this young lady is unable to have children. Mm-hmm. And so why am I carrying around weight that's unnecessary? I can call in. I'm not video ready. That's fine. I prefer you to share. And you can call in and your video doesn't have to be present, but just to hear it from the horse's mouth, Keisha, it would be phenomenal, because this changes that thought-provoking topic that I wanted to have, because again, this particular surgery was done for a different reason. And right. Yes, it's cosmetic, but there was a medical component to it.
Sure.
And once we hear it, I think people will be like, oh, because again, different strokes for different folks. And when someone makes that, commitment and that again, commitment to themselves, it's huge, and I commend her for that.
Sure.
I commend her for that. So we'll give her a minute to get situated. I wanted to say welcome to everybody. I wanted to give a small recap of what we're doing this evening. We're touching on various topics that are controversial. We're touching on a few hot topics that women need to speak about, we need to hear about. And at the end of the day, we want positivity to come from it all. Angry OG. Big E, can you put up what Tiffany said? Hey, Deandra.
Hey, T.
I studied to become a surgeon. There is so much more to learn when it comes to the anatomy. One wrong cut or using an improper tool can mean life or death.
Yeah, and that's scary. And then and again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm against the BBL. Again, your body, your choice, your money. I don't keep your lights on. I don't put food in your mouth. So do your thing.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of maintenance that comes along with it. So while you got your body done at 25 years old, when you're 50 years old, you're going to have to still maintain that exact body, because it's a procedure that you have to maintain.
And that's the piece that I wanted to touch on and speak on, T, because it wasn't about the choice. It wasn't about the financial piece. It is the aftermath. It is the growing, it is the getting older. It is that it's that maintenance piece, that fatality potential.
Right.
Because these women, some of them aren't going to reputable surgeons. As Tiff said, one tool can make or break the situation.
Right.
With my hysterectomy, a medical situation, the research that I did, behind the surgeon that I chose was extensive.
Of course.
Renowned surgeon, Karen Tang. Like I didn't make that decision lightly.
Right.
So, again, we want to make it clear that when we do things medically, that's different. When it's the cosmetic piece for enhancement, we're talking about the maintenance after.
Right.
Not the decision that you made, but are you ready for the maintenance after?
Right, because that's right now this body is trending. Mm-hmm. Years ago, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn.
Yeah.
I used to get ridiculed for having like a big butt. I used to get made fun of and everything else. So my concern is, just like a bob loses its style, when this BBL phase passes, then what? And again, your body, your choice. I'm not knocking anybody for what they do. I just hope that they take the time to consider this, this short-term decision. I mean, is going to affect you long term.
The cleanliness of the operating room is imperative.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's key. During my when I had my son, it was in the middle of COVID, and he would have been born a different day way earlier, but it was imperative for them to clean. Yes, because of COVID, but like Tiffany's saying, clean.
Right.
They had to really get in there and not have anything exposed, because those tools on that sterile tray can't really touch anything.
Right. Anything
So
exposed to an open wound, any type of infection or bacteria
yeah.
is so detrimental. It really, really is.
Right. So T, do you think that one day as women and as we unite, the narrative will change in reference to supporting each other, not wanting to degrade each other for the bag, not wanting to do it for social media? Because like you said, it's your guilty pleasure. So you
Right.
subscribed.
Yeah.
You know, I watch it. I go on different reels. I go on different stories. So there's a component that, okay, am I against it? Yes. But do
Right.
I entertain it? I do. So
Awesome.
what does that say? What is it, a catch-22? Is it that entertainment piece? Because that's what it will allow me to get away with it. Like, well, it's just entertainment. Okay. Keisha's in the building. Okay, perfect. Can we we're gonna pause for a second. T, I'll remind you of the question that I gave you.
Sure.
But I do want to get Keisha's take on what we just spoke about. So Keisha's backstage. Let's bring her on.
Hello. Hey, Keisha.
Hi. Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi. So
Thank
Keisha,
you.
can you just walk us through with what you're comfortable with sharing in reference to the medical and cosmetic component to this surgery that we're referring to?
Yes.
Thank you.
So when I was about 35, I wound, oh shoot, I'm telling my age. Okay. So when I was 35, I wound up getting diagnosed with uterine fibroids. And the first time I went to the doctor, they were like, you have about 5 fibroids, you know. But then when I went and I had an MRI, I wound up having like 40.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, well, I still want children. Like that was always my goal. I might have been younger than 35, but I said I wanted children. So I was like, well, I'm not. The doctors also said, like, you know, we want to. Do you want to preserve your fertility? And I was like, absolutely, I want children. And so they were like, okay, well, you know, you can get a myomectomy, which is what I did, and they took out like maybe 22 of the fibroids, but they left 10. Jesus. So I was like, okay. He's like, just to let you know, they're going to grow back. So if you're going to have children, you know, now is the time. But I wasn't really in a relationship that would promote that. Anyway, to, you know, fast forward maybe like 5 years to the day, my doctor was like, you know, they're here, they're back. And so we did another MRI, and I think they were all back, plus some. So in the same time, my uterus was about 4 months pregnant, just going, you know, just on a day-to-day basis because of the fibroids.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm not giving up my uterus, not yet. I still want children. I want children. I don't care. And then it got to be to the age where, you know, I was like, all right, you got to give it up. I was sick. I was bleeding all the time. I had anemia, the whole 9 yards. So I was like, I you know, at this time, my stomach was just big. It looked like I was like always pregnant. I was wearing like big shirts, baby doll shirts all the time. So I decided that, all right, a hysterectomy is what it is. We're going to do it. I have to do it. Kids are going to be out of the picture. But then I was left with this 5-month-old belly. And I was like, I'll be damned if I drag around this 5-month-old belly for the rest of my life, and have no children to show for it. Right. So I decided that with my hysterectomy, I was going to go get a tummy tuck, because no matter, and I, you know, would work out. I was measuring my food, working out 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And the belly was just there. I'm a bigger girl, and I lost like 50 pounds, and I was slender, had no shape whatsoever, but I had this big 5-month pregnant belly. So I saved up, I worked extra, I saved up the money, and I went and got a tummy tuck.
Good for you.
And I went to my doctors in New Jersey, And I'll tell you, every doctor is not, these women are not going to good doctors, the ones you see on Instagram. Because I asked my doctor, I said, can you like curve me out just a little bit, give me a little bit more hip? And he was like,
Right.
no, I'm not doing it. He told me no. And
Oh.
I asked, I was like, can you just take some of the fat from my stomach? Can you just put it in the hips and make me have like a more hourglass shape? And he was like, no. He's like, that's not a good idea. He's like, that's not the best. And I asked 2 doctors, and both of them said no. I was not asking for a lot of curve.
Right.
So I think the difference is for the women who are getting it for, like what we see on Instagram are these exaggerated bodies.
Yes.
And my doctor, I'm pretty sure, because I asked him, I'm like, what do you think? He just like shook his head. And he's like, well, I'm just not doing it. And like I said, I asked him just to round me out just a little bit.
Right.
But he wasn't going to do it. So I think there's a difference. But I did it because, like I felt like that was, I don't even know what, it was like rewarding. It was like you fought your fight.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't get the children. You wound up having to like, go through all of this,
right.
and, kind of put your life back together. And I will say, like, having the hysterectomy was really hard because it was like the end of my, dreams of being a mom. But like having the hysterectomy was actually having the tummy tuck was actually
the reward.
It was like it was healing. And so now I don't have that stomach. I don't have that 5-month-old, 5-month round stomach.
Yes.
Dragging everywhere I go.
Sure. And it's not the daily reminder of like what you were going through for those years. Right.
It kind of takes away it doesn't remove it, but it kind of helps me forget that I'm like,
right.
I was infertile.
And so when I speak on, or when I thought about this topic, I did think of you, and it's a very unique story. It's a very, again, it was a form of healing. So one wouldn't think, with a tummy tuck or a BBL, that the story would be so great because of the journey that led to it.
Right.
So for me, hands down, I would have done it. Why am I going to have a daily reminder of what sis just said? No need to even repeat it. Like that's a lot. That's a physical reminder. That's a mental reminder. And so, yeah, let's make a change. So thank you so much for sharing. Courageous and the transparency. And we appreciate that. And that definitely is the thought-provoking question, or the thought-provoking banter that I wanted to have tonight. Keep the questions coming, keep the topics coming, ladies. We really thank you for sharing, Kay. Yes, we really want to change the narrative to some of these situations.
Yeah, Keisha, I appreciate you sharing your story and being so vulnerable. Truly, that's commendable of you. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, not a problem. Me and Tarika talk about it all the time. Like, not all the time, but we talk about it frequently.
A good deal, and it was, and every time I hear the story, I just think about the pictures, or she'll be like, did I show you? And I'm like, yeah, girl, you showed me. Well, let me see it again. Because it makes it real.
Right.
And, it makes it real. So thank you so much. And people need to hear different stories, different reasons, and different journeys. And this is one that I've never would have expected to hear in reference to a cosmetic surgery.
Right.
I mean, I think Instagram has a lot to do with it, because like I'm always on Instagram, and I see, like, I think we're given like double messages. Like, if you have this woman with this exaggerated behind, working out and making it clap at the same time, you have the women like, this is too much, but all the men are like, good God, this is beautiful. You're amazing. So it just reinforces like, well, which one is it? The men like it, for the most part, the men are.
Hold that thought. I need Shannon to pop on for a second. Him and I spoke about this briefly, and I would love to hear his take on that. And Keisha, I need you to stay on, because I want to tap back into what you said if you have the time.
Yep, I do.
Okay, thanks. Big E, if you're available. So what Keisha was touching on, okay, perfect. I can't hear you, bud.
Mike, Shannon, there you go.
I know. I just had to switch the screens around. My bad.
Okay.
But yeah, what can I do you for?
So Keisha,
First off, hi, ladies.
hi. Keisha, this is our producer, Big E. Big E, this is my folks, Keisha. Nurse Keisha. Keisha.
Hey.
Oh, sorry for that. So can we talk about what you said about social media?
So part of when Rick and I was talking about it earlier is women and the things that they go through is really a double-edged sword. And when I hear women say, I'm doing this for me, I never really believe that, right? Because I always feel like there's at least minimum 25% component, anywhere from 25 to 100% that they're doing it for other reasons. And those other reasons I feel like are mainly attention. I feel like right now attention is the biggest drug in the world, the most addictive drug in the world. So I believe even if it's at that small 25%, that they want to do it for that look. And here's the other part that kind of is a little bit of give and take. Yes, the men on social media will like and fawn over that sort of thing. But when I talk to my peers and the guys that are in my circle, that's not something we would want to take home or take seriously, meet mom, or want to marry. Because that thirst for attention doesn't go away once they get into a relationship. And more often than I find with guys who get in relationship with those kind of women, the relationships don't last because there's a certain level of, first of all, maturity you need to have to deal with a woman who commands that much attention. And she's not willing to give it up for you or anybody else because that's her social currency. And I believe a lot of women are addicted to that social currency by way of likes and men, inboxing them or coming after them. And I know it feels nice to be wanted, right? It's not something I experience on a daily basis, but in the times that I have experienced it, like it really felt nice. So I get it and I understand it, but I don't think women should delude themselves into thinking they're doing something exclusively for them. And then they take and show it on social media all day, every day. Anytime you take a selfie, at what point do you need to turn around to take a picture of your ass? Right? So you go out of your way to show the breast augmentation. You go out of the way to show the ass or the tummy tuck or whatever it is. And granted, it'll get you the social currency you're looking for. But speaking of it from a male perspective and my peers and the fellas that I'm around, that's nice to look at. It's like, but I would never buy that. It's for me. I equate it to maybe a Maserati, right? I love the way Maseratis look. I love the way Lamborghinis look. I would never buy one. It has nothing to do with being able to afford it. It just means that it's not something that I would be willing to buy and take home and drive and use and, be with daily. But that's just my opinion or my perspective from, me and the fellas that I hang around with. We have this sort of conversation a lot. And it's like, yo, yeah, it's good to look at. Now you see those women who are the Instagram models. Yeah, they got 100-something thousand followers. They get 10,000 likes on the picture they post. But you got to look at what they posting. It's meant to be posted for the attention. But is that the type of woman you want to take home and kind of, I don't want to say that because that's a whole other show, but not really the kind of women that men in my circle, at least, will want to be in a committed long-term relationship with, because the mentality never leaves. That attention seeking or that addiction to that attention is still always going to be there. A lot of times I look at these women and it's like they rather play around on social media than be in a real serious committed relationship, because it's the society we live in, that instant gratification, that instant satisfaction, that instant, oh my God, they adore me. Relationships are hard, right? It takes work. And ultimately it's where you are mentally, where you are in your journey when it comes to maturity on how you respond to that sort of thing. Because if you look at these women, 9.5 times out of 10, they single.
Now,
And
with
they'll
that,
say it's by choice. They'll say it's by choice.
see, but with that being said, for me, sometimes that's hard to receive because although you're saying ideally, or most men or the men in your circle don't want a woman that got a BBL and everything else, at the same time, you and maybe your friends are the same ones liking pictures on Instagram of those females with those bodies. I'm not saying you per se, Shannon. I'm just saying in general.
No, you can say me. I like those pictures.
Right.
All the
So
time.
for me, it's like,
Twitter too.
if you're telling
But
me
that
that
reinforces.
you want to take a female serious, and you might not be able to take a female serious that got her body done, but in the same breath, you're still liking those pictures. It's hard for me not to kind of, not me personally, but it would be hard for a woman not to want to live up to like your likes, if that makes sense.
So when I started out, excuse me, what I started out and what I was saying is, and I don't want that part to go unnoticed. I said, yes, men like that stuff. They'll like it on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook or whatever social media they are on. That's fine. Like, but I also said those aren't the women that they want to take and be serious with.
Right.
Right? Because that level of attention is not what no man wants to sign up for. Yeah, they'll sleep with them. They'll like the pictures. But as far as some sort of long-term committed, making it work, putting the work in for a relationship, it's not going to happen because in their minds, and both men and women, it's going to take too much to pull them away. And ultimately, yeah, we can like those pictures, but at the same time, the type of woman that, you know, we would probably want to end up with are a little more conservative. And again, it's just not some sweeping indictment on every man and every woman. I'm just telling you, like, from a perspective and what I see.
Sure.
Can I just say that I think a woman's choice to alter her body is her choice, whether it's exaggerated or tasteful. But I feel as though, like, I think, well, Shannon, I do just want to say that Tarika gets on me all the time because of the way I dress. Because you would never know that I had a tummy tuck by, stop it. You would never know that I had any kind of cosmetic work by the way that I dress. However, if I do show anything, yes, I am going to get attention, but just because there's attention given doesn't mean that, like, there was no part of me that said, like, I'm going to get a tummy tuck so that I can, when I wear, you know, a dress, everything shows. So I just want to say, like, you know, what do we, like, do we want to, like, kind of, I don't want to say shame, but do we want to, like, condemn women who are shapely, you know, and, you know, if they have a sundress on that's tight and fitted and they get the attention, does that mean that, you know, they're like lusting for attention, or is it that's just the way the woman's body is? So what she may just be voluptuous and gets attention.
Right. And I mean, not to toot my own horn, I can speak on that because I have a fairly nice shape. And so when I wear certain things, I don't wear it for attention. It's just naturally how, like, things lay or shape my body. And I also think, to piggyback off of what you said, Keisha, not every time a woman goes out is for male attention. It's not.
Correct.
And not every female gets a BBL or a tummy tuck, whether it's for medical or cosmetic, for male validation. So I agree with you 100%. I never want to shame a woman for doing what she wants to do with her body for whatever the reason, whether it's her validation or not. It's her body, her choice.
So I want to say I like a lot of attention. So when I go out and I'm showing, I purposely do that. It's very intentional. It's very thought through. And part of that is because I'm not voluptuous. So with all jokes, you know, and seriousness aside, I am going to show my shoulder. I am going to do the short shorts because because I don't really have the extra that Keish and T got. So I'm going to do a little more.
Sure.
But are you wrong for that?
No.
So just to kind of redirect. What I was referring to was specifically those women who got, like, I'm the first to tell you, women should do whatever it is that they want to do with whatever they want to do. Like, your body, your choice. I don't care if it comes to abortion, hair, nails. For me,
I love
it's
that.
a form of expression. I don't want every woman to look the same way. I was speaking specifically to the women who have the augmentation, and like Reek brought me on for the social media aspect of it. That's what I was asked about. Now, for women who are naturally curvy and shapely, because this comment here is a little bit triggering. We damned if we do, we damned if we don't. I don't think that's true. Women who are naturally blessed in those ways, I don't feel like they go out of their way for attention. I feel like, one, men need to learn to just overall respect women, their space, their attitude, everything. Just respect women. Just begin and end there, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, men will also tell you that we prefer a natural woman. Doesn't matter how many likes the BBLs and the breast implants. That really doesn't matter, because a lot of time that is social media. That is the land of make-believe. That is avatars. People get to post whatever they want, caption it any way they want, whether they believe the shit they saying or not. And I can personally attest that shit is make-believe. Okay, because a lot of people forget that you know them personally, and they'll post something, and you're like, well, that's not your truth, or that's not what you believe, and they be trying to preach. And then a lot of shit that people post, and even me, that shit don't be my real life. I post it because I think it's funny. I'll post it because maybe it's a topic coming up on the show. I'll post it because I saw somebody else post it. It got a lot of engagement. I'm in the business of selling. Sell. Okay? So at the end of the day, women, do whatever you want. All I'm saying is just be prepared for what comes with whatever it is that you do. If you're looking for attention, be prepared for all the attention. Not just the good one you like, right? Not just the handsome men, but the ugly ones too, or the not so attractive ones too.
I get offended.
Don't be just coming. Don't show up just expecting for it to be all compliments, because you still got trolls out there who feed off of negativity, and all they want to do is make you feel bad about yourself. They want to destroy you and tear you down. So what I'm saying, do whatever you want. Just be prepared for what comes with it, and that's why I say a huge part of that is mental health. Make sure your mental health is in order. Make sure you can mentally handle everything that comes with it, because you can't be out here being ultra sensitive when people point out something that you might personally know that in your mind you may feel like is a flaw and maybe nobody noticed, and it might tear you down. Don't let anybody tear you down. Make sure you're mentally strong enough to handle everything that comes with the augmentation and with the attention. That's all. Do whatever you want. So Big E, a woman that dresses half naked, she looking for attention? I'm not sure what part you missing. A woman can most certainly dress any way that she wants. If she feels like she wants to dress half naked, like I just said, be prepared for everything that comes with being half naked. Most of the time, it's going to be positive, but it's those, that 1 to 5% out there, that's the wolves that might catcall you, that might talk crazy about you, that might try to pull you in the alley. Just be prepared for all of it. I don't care how you dress. Just be prepared for the energy that comes with it. I'm not telling women to dress any certain kind of way. That's not my right. I'm not God. I don't sit in judgment. I'm not your father. However, I'm saying just be prepared for it all. Don't just assume that every man is respectful. Don't just assume that every man is not. You have to pretend that every motherfucker is a rapist or a thief that's going to want to take it, because at the end of the day, you just never know. So women, ladies, just be prepared. That's all. Wear whatever you want. Whatever come with what you wearing is what's going to come with it. I don't think it's good or bad. Just be prepared. Just be prepared. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Okay. Hey, how are you?
Gross.
Okay. There's a difference in being tasteful in the way you dress, whether you had augmentation done or not. The fact of the matter is that the craving for attention in the pictures that you post that consistently are exposing your body parts makes it seem as though you desire attention for validation. Men aren't taking that type of woman seriously. Yeah, he'll fuck you, but he's not taking you seriously. I concur.
When I get my tummy tuck, it's over for my robe.
Well, Creamy, of course. I mean, you know, what other reason would you dress half naked? I don't think that was a question for me. I'm glad you're doing well, Q. I mean, it's a topic for discussion. You know, again, if we're
since I have 3 women on the panel, and I appreciate you inviting me into the space, I'm trying to be respectful.
Fine.
But since I am here, Kara said, because it's hot. Okay?
Thank you, Kara.
Kara, hi,
Hey,
mama.
beautiful.
How are you?
So since I'm in the space with the women, I do have a question for the ladies. And then I'm going to get out of your way unless you guys want me to stay. I'm going to get out of the way.
We're just going to finish up and go grab lunch. We're going to talk about what you want to talk about. I'd like Keisha to leave us with a gem before she's done. I'm dressing half naked once my weight hits 170. Yes.
Come on.
Aries queen. That's why I said that question wasn't for me.
So
Go ahead, Biggie.
I'll ask this question. Do women believe they can be sexy with clothes on and not being half naked?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm just
That's
asking.
like saying women get matching bra and
I mean, I was a little hesitant.
So
If we're
here's
being
the thing.
honest.
I'm asking because the things that we see on social media, most of those women are in what? Half naked, they're in bikinis. Some women just outright turn around so you can see the butt, this, that, and the other thing. And again, I know guys, right? That, you know what? I don't even want to talk about them.
Why?
I'm gonna speak personally about me. Like,
Okay.
I feel like,
This subject is okay.
you know, this subject is so contradictory in my opinion.
If it's done tasteful, like Creamy, like I think women can do whatever we want to do. If you choose to be tasteful with it, like Tiff said, augmentation or not, it's how you carry yourself. So, you know, whether I want to be half naked or not, speaking for myself, I don't carry myself in a non, you know, respectful way, half naked or not. So,
But I think I'm sorry.
go ahead, Keish.
I was just going to say, like, I think what it is that what it comes down to is that women have to be responsible for the way that men are going to respond, whether it's in a good way or bad way. We can only dress a certain way because it winds up being that we're responsible, or we become responsible for the way that men perceive and act towards us. And we shouldn't be. Whether or not you're walking around with a thong on or whatever, that still does not give a man the right, even though he can, and even though men do, it doesn't give him the right to grab her. And I understand what he is saying. It's like, but they're going to say, like, you know what, I'm going to pull her anyway because I got to have her. And yes, you do run that risk. What are you saying?
No, I'm saying you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter how a woman dressed. No man has the right to, I think I had said that, respect her, respect her personal space. No man has the right, no matter how she's dressed, to disrespect a woman in any way.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
My point, because then that becomes victim blaming. You blaming a woman for a man's actions, and that's not cool. He's responsible.
That's what I was saying.
For his action.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, but women wind up being
ridiculed,
kind of sort of what you victimized, or like, well, you shouldn't have been wearing that. And it's like women have to be responsible for the way that men perceive them. Like I can't go
Mm-hmm.
walking, I can't put on my slinky dress and walk down the street because this man
You
may
can't
come
control
grab me.
yourself. Yeah.
Right, because the man can't control himself. I can't wear what I want to wear and walk down the street.
And to just piggyback off of the question that you had asked me earlier about having these conversations with my daughter, I also have these conversations with my son because, we need to teach our young men too. Like, this might not be for you. You can enjoy what you see and keep it moving and not have a comment and not make a woman feel uncomfortable in what she's wearing.
Right. Right. Right.
It boils down to you begin, like what I said, you begin and you end with respect. Bottom line. And if you can't control yourself, they need to lock you away somewhere. And a woman isn't responsible for a man's action. I've heard of a young man, and they've been barbecuing this man for about a year. He's been on TikTok, and he's saying women know what they be doing. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, sir, you don't have the right to approach, accost, attack, or disrespect the woman.
Right.
Like, it's absolutely no reason for that. OG always says a top for every pot. Find your motherfucking pot and be the top. Stop trying to force yourself on a woman who doesn't want you. The understanding needs to begin and end with respect, no matter what she's wearing, because ultimately, these are the women who I personally always say is the backbone of our community. And when you talk about these women and the way that we need them in the community, and if we keep alienating them and forcing them not to want to participate, we fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, we fucked. Right? There's a movement that has happened in the history of this country when it comes to Black civil rights that women have not really been the engine for. Yeah, men have been the face, right? But all the shit that happens behind the scenes, the paperwork, the organization, the feeding, the nurturing, making sure people are aware, that was all our sisters.
Right.
Yes.
So respectfully,
Foundation.
keep your hands and your ignorant shit to yourself. Like, just begin and end with respect, and you won't have a problem.
Right. So we will go grab lunch, and then we're going to finish up. I do have a work commitment after this. So go grab lunch, for those of you who don't know, is an act of kindness that we do here on the Big Exclusive Network with our guests each and every week. T, do you have a trivia question for the folks?
Let's see here. I'm trying to think about some topics, Keisha.
Right.
Let's see. Did Keisha, you did mention your age. How old you were when you had the procedure, hon?
Yeah, I didn't actually say my age. I was in my 40s.
Okay. Let's see.
Different question.
Help me out, Reek.
I am. Or Biggie, if you think of a really good question, you can, ask it as well. But the question would need to be, the first person in the chat would win the Go Grab Lunch. So
I'm trying to think.
So when Keisha spoke on the fibroids that were taken out, how many were left? How many was she left with?
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you. Nope.
That's what I started with.
That's what she started with. No, Miss Carol.
Sonya just gonna keep going.
I love it. If all your life you've been body shamed, when you start appreciating your own roles, then the shorts and the skirts get shorter, and it's for me. You can get attention, wanted or unwanted, wearing whatever. Agreed, cuz.
Agreed.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. 3, not queen, not 3. 2, no. Was it 0? And more came back? No.
Ricky, you might need to find another question.
I might need to find another question.
I have one.
Okay. How much did the ladies say a BBL cost? Yeah, that's a good question.
We need the Jeopardy music.
I know.
Keisha, if you don't mind me asking respectfully, was that, you said you had to save money. Your insurance wasn't going to cover that, right? Because it was considered cosmetic.
Oh, shoot.
Keish.
She might have lost service.
Yeah, probably so.
Huh.
I know that's right. 10 or 1,000.
Oh no, that is a really Groupon special, child. If you getting a BBL for 1,000.
I wouldn't go. Don't sign up, Miss Sonia. Matter of fact, you see that, you report it
Right.
immediately.
That's coming with a Big Mac and a small Coke if you're doing that for 1,000.
Your flight is going to cost more than that. So we might just pick a guest in the audience.
It was
between 7 and 10.
7 and-
Yeah. Yep. You got it, Creamy. So request it from me. So Big E, put my Cash App up there, please. And we'll make sure you get it. And thank you so much for participating in our Go Grab Lunch. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. T, Big E, Keisha, thank you so much. But you can get the special 4,500. Yeah, don't nobody want that special, D. We don't want that special. No problem, Creamy. We'll make sure we get it over to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Women's Wellness Wednesday. We did it a little different tonight with the hot topic and some controversial conversation, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you so much. Big E, did you want to leave the audience with anything?
Yes, ladies, just love yourself. That's all. Love yourself more and worry about what they think less.
I love that. See you all next week. Take care.